Hello, everyone. Welcome to the XR Summit 2022. My name is Cureton. I am the senior journalist for XR Today. And as always, we're bringing you the latest and greatest for the VR, AR, and XR industries. So for our panel today, NFT 101, major disruption ahead. We have on a stellar list of guests that we can speak to today. We firstly have Mr. Billy Huang, co-founder and chief executive of Luna Market. We also have Leila Ismailova, head of Curated Drops for ARTISANT, and Arsen Aharonyan, chief marketing officer for Spheroid Universe. So thanks so much to join us, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to get this going. So the first thing we want to talk about are NFTs. Now, who wants to go ahead and define this for our audience today? Because I guess there's maybe still a little bit of trickiness behind its definition.
I think I could take a stab at this. So NFTs are essentially digital assets where the ownership is verified on the blockchain. That's important because the blockchain is a transparent technical ecosystem. So you can see who's registered, you can see who owns it, and you can verifiably prove that somebody actually owns a piece of digital asset. I think that's kind of been transformational because previously, it's hard to actually define how do you own any type of asset, MP4s, JPEGs, PNGs, and whatnot. But NFTs have kind of enabled that ownership to be registered, on a verifiable piece of technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can also add that it's a unique piece, right? For example, Bitcoin is a fungible token because you can trade a Bitcoin for Bitcoin and it doesn't make difference, while NFTs is something unique. And I guess, yes, it's that's why it has more value.
Additional thing which is, I guess, important for NFTs is that NFT itself is the proof of existence of several files in the blockchain, several objects in the blockchain, and this is the digital way of proving existence. So in physical world, you can touch it, and that's the proof that it exists. And in the digital world, you have NFT, which is proving that this entity exists overall. And this is the only one thing, it's unique. And the only one that you're touching is never going to be replaced and copied by anyone else.
Good answers, guys. Yeah. It's like the NFT is the non-fungible, meaning it can't be transferred to another sort of asset. So it's yours, you get to keep it, and it's linked to that blockchain, that little complicated piece of, I guess, encrypted data that we like to learn about and we hear in the news. So to start, we talk about NFTs. Now, how can they, for, I guess, your platforms, how can they build trust and brand visibility for customers and clients using them? So I guess we'll start with Arsen. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So first of all,
go ahead.
And NFTs are very, very important part of the actual ecosystem of any metaverse project for right now. So this is one of the biggest values that they are bringing to our platform. So we created the overall map of the world, which is split it into the spaces. Each area of the world is separate space, and this is an NFT. So people can own part of the world by owning this NFT, own the layer of augmented reality of exact location via this NFT. So this is something that they own, and this is something which they can interact with. They feel that this is their own property, and this is something which gives us option to sell and provide platform for people to just be part of our ecosystem. You can consider NFTs for us as some kind of crowdfunding. So we're splitting our product and selling it to the people. Then they're benefiting from all kinds of things that we are bringing in to our project.
Great. Leila, did you want to add anything to that?
Absolutely. Sorry, Arsen and ARTISANT sound a little bit so similar to me. I mean, I guess, it's case by case, and every case should be different. For us as as a team that works with digital fashion, NFTs is something that we connect to utility. We create very beautiful designs and we represent a lot of designers. And what we do, we bring these beautiful designs into Metaverse and turn them into wearables for avatars, for avatars in Sandbox, for Clonox, for Decentraland, for Ready Player Me or Spatial. So this is the utility factor, I guess, that makes our NFTs valuable, because you can wear them. And of course, there is a roadmap for our company and a big global roadmap for Web3, where there will be bridges between different metaverses. There will be this complicated word, interoperability, where you can take your avatar with the outfit that you already have and take it to different metaverses and show it. So I guess this is where the value of our NFTs lies, because it's very practical. And I also think that we're this early birds, early stage ambassadors for the environmental issues caused by traditional fashion. Because fashion, although it's the most beautiful, exquisite form of art and self-expression, it's also one of the dirtiest businesses in the world. As a matter of fact, it's the second one. So I guess same as Tesla. Yes, after the oil industry, fashion is the second most polluting industry. The numbers and the crimes that these big brands commit are atrocious when you just look into it a little bit. So I guess what we do, we show that overconsumption can be changed and cured, and you can still look fabulous and have amazing outfits. You just don't need to have all of them in a physical shape. You can still feel amazing and wear them in a digital realm. So that's another, very useful and meaningful element of our NFTs in particular. But as I said, every project, I guess, bring its own meaning into the word NFT.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Billy, did you want to add anything to that?
Definitely. I think the biggest change for NFTs for brands in general is traditionally brands kind of do push marketing, right? A lot of it is targeted, Google AdSense, Facebook marketing, banner ads and whatnot. But NFTs are really interesting in the sense that it allows kind of brands to connect with the users by having this new layer of digital ownership, right? It's super easy for them to send, airdrop somebody or allow them to claim for free one of the brand's own tokens. And, then that token gives you special and exclusive access to different things that the brands might be able to provide. I think a good example of that is the Lacoste drop, where, owning a Lacoste pass helps you influence the design of how, new upcoming merch for Lacoste. Ledger did one where if you own a Ledger pass, you one, get a Ledger for free, but two, you get airdrop special, Clonex, Murakami's, different art pieces that they're going to be collaborating on. So I think it kind of gives you a more holistic way to approach your users, and then they feel more kind of closer to you because there's this idea of ownership, and there's this, kind of moving away from traditional targeted advertising to how do you actually make people feel special and have that individualized one-on-one connection, which I think is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Here I want to add something to Billy's speech. One of the coolest examples of this utility is that one of the biggest e-commerce companies in the world, Shopify, they made, this is a crazy thing. They made an NFT integration to their platform. So now they have this kind of technology called Token Gate. When owning any kind of token, or NFT token, lets you access to separate shops on Shopify. So now brands could make exclusivity of their product just via adding this token gate solution to their Shopify. So instead of just running something new from scratch, adding second instance of their product or shop, they can just add these tools as section on their Shopify profile. So, and I guess this is one of the hugest bursts that NFTs had in their history. And now we are living in a wonderful time for NFTs getting more util and getting much more of options to use and penetrate into the world.
Yeah, I mean, you raise an excellent point about payment integrations and new types of technologies that have been integrated across different platforms. So I guess Leila and Billy, I wanted to know what kinds of, I guess, different systems and integrations that you've got for your platforms as well.
Definitely. So it's interesting because right now we are at Luna Market right now is like a tech agency. So we do a lot of NFT and metaverse and DAO creation on behalf of large companies. So we're doing a DAO for L'Oreal. We're kind of doing we did Under Armour's drop with the Genesis Curry flows. But now we've kind of started creating more of like a white label solution for kind of NFT creations in general. So essentially, we call it NFT checkout, but it allows you to make NFTs and plug it into any website. You can kind of think about it like Stripe checkout. And so I think it's interesting because as more and more people kind of understand the idea of NFTs, it becomes less of a price scheme, right? Like I think a lot of people who are still trading NFTs today just like worry about pricing versus like, how do I actually use this? And how do I actually, feel a connection to the ownership of the digital asset that I own versus like, I'm just going to buy this to flip this. And I think that kind of movement towards, it's like a mindset shift in like consumer behavior is going to be extremely beneficial for the space and kind of weed out, who is in here for the money and who is in here for, the actual usage of digital assets in general. So I think it's going to be interesting and, hopefully our platform can be a big part of that going forward.
Excellent points. How about you, Leila?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of discussions around this topic because now as we observe people who buy on our marketplace, we can see that most of them are NFT collectors who don't use digital fashion as much. They just like collect items, all kinds of NFTs, and that's it. And they just store them. But at the same time, I've been pushing for integrating MoonPay into ARTISANT because I believe that, we are at the very early stage, innovation curve for like only early adopters to use it. That's why like we're like boiling in a tiny pot of Web3 early stage adopters. And it's really hard for like maybe 95% of the Earth's population to join it because they don't have a, MetaMask, because they don't have any crypto and they maybe don't know how to buy it. That's why I think like integrating MoonPay and allowing using fiat for buying NFTs is something that many platforms may consider, because I also think that once again, we're, as my friend David Cash from Cash Labs said, we are the gate openers of Metaverse. We are pretty much the first generation of people who work in this industry. So it's also very important to think how we can onboard more people and spread this information, not just like generate wealth for us, but also how can we give these opportunities to other people. That's why I think integrating alternative methods of payment is a very good idea.
Excellent points. Speaking of that, we talk about generating wealth for these content creators, the people who are actually making the NFTs, minting them, putting them on the platform. So for you, I wanted to know, like, what kind of ways can NFTs generate wealth and then later on generate wealth for the global economy? So we have the individual creating it, the person buying the NFTs, and then the greater global economy, which could benefit. Who wants to take that one?
I would be very happy to speak about this because there is a good term like called degen, like decentralized generation. People who are buying on daily basis NFTs, like buying, selling, trading them overall, and this is one of the ways that individual can generate revenue there. But what's the interesting thing here? This is, as Leila mentioned, this is some tiny pots and we're all boiling there. So it's just money going from one pocket to another. That's not a good thing. But what's interesting and how fast evolving NFT are happening. A lot of NFT collections now are aiming to get sustainable revenue stream from Web2 or from any other thing, like starting from opening their own gambling platforms or making their staking mechanism, like creating the mining operation for Bitcoin, anything, like creating ways to generate profit and then to share these with the with the owners of NFTs. So in this case, we can consider that NFTs are very cool way to get retail invest in crowdsourced project and then benefit from this. So and when we have this logic, we have a lot of bright people don't thinking, oh, how I will go and get money from VC or how I will get that investment. They are launching their collection and they are burning with their idea. They're getting the money in and building the product. Currently, there is a meta in NFT called builders. Like there's a term called builders gonna build. And now a lot of people are building different things and they are sourcing their income from the sales of the NFTs, from the mint of NFTs, with the promise to generate more revenue and make it sustainable. So then the people who contributed on early stage will start earning from this. And this is new way of entrepreneurship overall. Like people are becoming entrepreneurs because they have a lot of NFT guys backing them and they have community who will be early adopters of this piece of product and technology, and they have money to build this. That's very beautiful, and that's why Web3 is happening at the first place.
Brilliant answer. Any other people who want to take that answer, or at least take that question, because there's a lot that we could discuss about that.
So I think from a global scale, NFTs are a way for people to, actually own digital assets. And what that means, I think, is still extremely undefined. I think there are a lot of ways that people are looking to kind of create NFTs, but mostly I would say the industry is not yet mature. So we don't know what it's going to look like, in 5 years, what NFTs are going to do for you, in 10 years, what NFTs are going to do for you. But if I were to kind of take a guess, I would say that NFTs not only will be kind of used for token gated merchandising, it would be used for, a lot of brand loyalty systems and what people can provide on that behalf. I think gaming will see, a resurgence in NFTs, even though there's a bunch of backlash, because I just think that's more of a lack of education around what NFTs can do in gaming. But you've seen very successful projects like Wax Brawlers from Animoca or Axie Infinity, where, people from the Philippines, whose minimum wage are really, really low, are able to benefit drastically, like an entire economy, to be able to earn from play to earn gaming. And whether that's through, where the funds come from, telecommunication networks, or the funds come from, other countries, you have systems in place now where NFTs kind of escrow funds so that you can have that kind of traverse across the global economy, which I think is really interesting because it's more democratic in a sense. In the metaverse world, the flow of funds is almost seamless, right? There isn't really a gate in which you can kind of, stop the flow of funds unless the developers decide that that's going to happen. So I think given this massive amount of liquidity, there is a lot of upside in which, you can dictate how the money is going to flow. And that actually benefits a lot of people across the world who, weren't able to previously access those funds. But now, as long as you have the internet, you can participate in this global online economy, which I think is going to be, an amazing thing for just humanity in general.
100%. Yeah. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I mean, you were also mentioning a little bit also about how it helps with sustainable fashion and other things, and other ways that people can use these NFTs to kind of become a part of a digital community. So, Leila, what would you say about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's it's a very good time for creators finally, because artists do not need to starve anymore. I think a Web3 kind of removes this middleman, like a producer, agent, whoever this person was before. And now with the help of smart contract, creators can protect their interests. And they not only make money once, but they also, make some money from every secondary sale on the marketplace, which is amazing. And it's something that cannot be hacked or changed or stolen. And this is the beauty of, I guess, the Web3 ecosystem. And of course, its accessibility, something that Billy mentioned, is that today people from different countries can participate. Like, speaking about the fashion, the point of entry into traditional fashion is very high. Like, it's only for elite, someone who would get into London or France or New York, go to a good fashion school, get an internship in some fashion house. It's a very long way, and only a few people can make it. So, for example, if you're from a tiny village in China or from Afghanistan, chances are high you will never, show your fashion to anyone. And with Web3 and digital fashion, pretty much all you need is like an internet connection and access to one software. That's it. And you need to learn how to use it. But if you want, you will learn. And Artisan does everything like in our power to educate our creators on how to create beautiful digital fashion. And we have these amazing stories of, like, for example, a girl from Ukraine who created one of her designs like in the bunker during the war. And like, she created an amazing, beautiful design. And she said that was her way of connecting to the world and feeling like this is not the end of the world. And we have like stories from Muslim countries when people cannot, express themselves freely and create certain clothes and wear them. And in Metaverse, no one really cares about that. So it's very liberating for creators from a standpoint of creative freedom, because there are still, we need to remember, a lot of places in the world where people cannot speak or show things. And it's also financially lucrative for creators, which makes me feel very happy.
And that's the unlimited potential that NFTs have for people who want to, I guess, express themselves in the 3D, I guess this time digitally and rather than just in the flesh. And so one thing that we can think about, I guess the last question I can ask you guys is, we talk about influencers building those communities for NFTs, for metaverses and other things. Have you seen any other use cases in your specific field where people have been able to make a major impact on society? Piggybacking off of what Leila had described to us just now.
What we are building here is like a decentralized 3D map of the world, which then will be used to solve some of the extended reality problems overall. And here we realized that if something is community owned and community based, so people should contribute there and get rewarded for the contribution. Here we will have the system where people who contribute more, they have more impact on the overall market and overall product and overall project itself. So DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, is something that is new thing for the world. And this is something, the way how people can utilize their influence via owning NFTs. So you own something, do you prove yourself as someone who have something more? Is this your influence, your follower count, or your token count that you generated, you earned, you won? No difference. You have some asset which is proving that you have something, you're better in something, and people can look at you. This all is done on blockchain, and then the DAO, via again the token gate technology, is providing you some additional tools to do some additional opportunities. So with these, people who have influence will have influence on decisions, and physical decisions, not just to the head, to people. They are not brainwashing, they are just making the move for people to make the shift paradigm in their heads. So yeah, this is some very important thing that NFTs are bringing to reputational and scoring mechanics.
Really?
I'll definitely name Axis in the Philippines. I think, Billy, you mentioned it previously, because it literally probably saved so many people from starvation and poverty, right? And this is like a beautiful example. I don't know, maybe desperate and sad also, because there is no other opportunities, but also it helped people to go through the pandemic and make money for their families, which is amazing, and just like change the economy on this like massive scale. I would also mention Toucan protocol and, similar projects that, work with carbon offsets and, create very practical, simple tools for companies to be accountable for the carbon emissions that they produce and put in our world. So this is something that I truly support, and I think it should be promoted, and maybe we should put it on in the spotlight. And like for me personally, of course, any project that works in digital fashion like ours or ARTISANT or the Fabricant and others, I think will make a massive shift in this, like, as I said, second most polluting industry, fashion.
Definitely. I think those are amazing points. So I think as we work with, brands like Under Armour, one of the biggest things is, carbon emissions as well. Like I think especially in apparel in general, like how do you do manufacturing, how you do merchandising, all kind of contributes to, pollution in general. I think NFTs are interesting because it's almost in a sense like wearables in the digital sense, don't pollute as much. You have the argument that if you launch things on Ethereum, like you are, contributing to as much carbon offset or to the carbon pollution as possible. But, there's sustainable solutions like using Polygon or Avalanche or, Solana and chains like that, which I think is really interesting. I think also like there are a lot of interesting projects that are, eco-friendly as well. Like I know there's a project that allows you to buy like plots of Amazon land, if you will, and then all of the funds goes into kind of the conservatory to help the forest today. I know Concept Art House, which is one of a close partner of ours, like kind of was, really deep in the project doing that. And I think as you start transitioning more things onto a digital plane, you also have the kind of option to reach more people, like in terms like an awareness standpoint, right? Like how do you're able to kind of almost build your version of utopias like inside these digital worlds as to influence like what you think should happen in the physical. And I think that type of creative immersion will also be beneficial from like a hope standpoint and from like a way to say like, things might not be amazing here, but it could get a lot better, right? And this is what it looks like. It's like a source of inspiration for people to also understand, where things could be instead of where things are. So I think there's a lot of interesting uses for these types of technology, especially in AR, VR, XR, and then NFTs in general, is just kind of the infrastructure for all of that. So I think a lot of it is yet to be discovered, but it's very exciting.
Absolutely. And thanks so much for everyone. Thanks so much to everyone for all your insights. I deeply appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing, how NFTs are going to reshape the industry, the market, and I think they'll be integral to everything that takes place from here on out. So once again, we have on Billy Huang, co-founder and chief executive of Luna Markets. We have Leila Ismailova, head of Curated drops for ARTISANT, and Arsen Aharonyan, chief marketing officer for Spheroid Universe, excuse me. And I just want to thank you again for joining us today and hope everyone continues to enjoy the XR Summit 2022. My name is Cureton, senior journalist for XR Today. We are signing off. Thanks so much for your attention and time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.